Recording 5, 4, 3, 2, 1, cue.
Welcome everyone. Welcome to our course on supervision. Welcome to St. Paul University. My name is Martin Rovers, and this course here will be a course in supervision from an adult education perspective. We're going to talk about skills and processes involved. So let me introduce the team. My name is Martin Rovers. I'm a professor here at St. Paul University. I'm the coordinator for the couple and family program, the master's, and in the PhD program. I'm an AMFT approved supervisor. And the rest of my team.
My name is Jillian Mannella. I'm a PhD student here at St. Paul University. My research is specializing in clinical supervision.
And I'm Kathryn Guthrie. I'm a graduate of St. Paul University. I teach and supervise here, and I'm also a clinical fellow and approved supervisor with AAMFT.
So welcome to all of you folks watching this webinar to our course. I know you're in different parts of the country. We're going to try to put this together as best we can through webinar. Our friend Janet, that you will have met by now because she's going to introduce you to webinars and things, will be with us as part of our team. So we want to make this the best course possible through webinar and the weekend we have in-house. And so do make yourself at home in your home and make yourself at home with this program. And if there's anything you need from us at all in terms of how to work all this stuff, please let us know. This webinar here, this program here is really just to introduce you to what the course looks like and how we might work it. And then we'll continue it as the fall unfolds.
So some of our course objectives include becoming familiar with basic theoretical models of adult education and supervision and developing skills and processes for supervision. Certainly identifying ethical issues, very central to supervision because supervision is really the gatekeeping function in the practice of psychotherapy. And then also helping you to create and use structures and resources for the supervisor-student and the supervisor-practitioner relationship, things like learning contracts, effective note-taking, record-keeping, helping you become familiar with a variety of modalities and how they can be used in supervision, introduce some critical review of literature and help you think critically about what you're reading and learning, and also to be able to explore your own life story in the supervisory process so that you can enhance your ability to articulate a personal model of supervision and the knowledge of self that you use in supervision and that you can elicit in your supervisees. We really want to encourage you to develop a multicultural, multi-faith, gender-sensitive approach, to be able to identify roles of transference, countertransference, parallel process, and we'll be explaining all those things. Be aware of the clinical issues involved in supervision by inviting you to present stories and experiences of your own, and to supervise and evaluate students, each other as students, through a reflection process. There'll be small group facilitation, there'll be various modalities and focuses of supervision. We're going to talk about person of therapist and the use of self. We'll talk about risk management. Jillian's going to talk to us a little bit about, oops.
We're going to go back.
There we go.
There you go.
So some of the topics that are included for the course this semester would be contracting and supervisory evaluation processes, reflecting team and peer supervision, adult learning, being supervision of students and practitioners, getting the most out of supervision, legal and ethical issues, regulation, legal issues, power dynamics, and diversity, including attention to race, sex, gender, and class, as well as LGBTQ issues, etc. We covered that already.
All right.
Okay, and then I think it's over to you.
So we got a lot of stuff in the program, and the course is a comprehensive course that's going to cover a lot of things in supervision, especially from an adult learning model. And we're going to do that in our first webinar coming up in early September. We've got a couple of books that you can see on the syllabus that we have for you. And they're kind of important books. So it feels a little bit like a lot of material, even as we listen to each other put this together. But it's going to kind of break down into a number of webinar sessions over many weeks and the in-house weekend. So you have to kind of get into the process, trust the process, and take as much of it as you can and respond in whichever way you can best respond into that. Let me say a bit about the format. So we do have 5 webinars that we're going to be doing every second week. Will be a kind of a didactical instructional webinar. And in between that, we'll have 5 discussion forums. So you have a chance to talk to each other. We'll be here with you live, and you'll be on your webinars at home live with the whole group. So we can just chat to each other. What did we learn? What did we read? What are we thinking? What are our questions? So it becomes quite experiential for all of us because we're going to do this from an adult learning perspective. You know stuff. We know stuff. We've got some books here that we can use. And all together with you, we can put that together for the best learning possible. The webinars will always be on a Tuesday evening from 5:30 to 8:30 Ottawa time, in case you're joining us from Vancouver, which will be grand. So that webinar, and I don't know if it's going to go 3 hours every night, but we're going to be open to all of that to give it that kind of format. You will be participants in this course. We're going to do one thing here that try to make it quite experiential, and that is we're going to break you into small groups of 4 people. There'll be 4 students, and one of us will be part of your group in your journal reflections and in your final philosophical statement on supervision. And so what we're going to do is you can see your assignment after each webinar. You're going to have to write a 2-page paper. You're going to have to read a bunch of stuff, write a 2-page paper on that stuff. And in your 2-page paper, you're going to email that to the other 3 students in your group.
And the prof.
And the prof. And then the other 3 students in the group will read your material. So if I was a student and I have 3 other students reading my material, their job, or my job in this case for the other ones, is to read their material and give them written feedback in a peer supervisory format using track changes function on your computer. And we never worked that out here yet, but if you need to know what a track changes function in your computer is, it's fairly simple. Most of you may know. You've got your file open. You're reading my 2-page report that I've written for every one of you. Right at the top, you go to Track Changes. Push that button, and then you go. And when you read people's reports, you can type right in on that. It'll show up in a different color, so that every student can read what everybody else wrote. We're going to teach you a bit in terms of peer reflection processes of how you might give somebody feedback. But I might say to another student's written reports, well done, I really like this. I'm curious why you chose that article because it's one I never saw before. I'm impressed that you kind of got that out of the article. That's new for me, thank you. I'm wondering about what you think of this piece that you didn't talk about. So we're really going to do peer supervision in a written format. And so you each learn the art of supervision by responding to each other's, 3 other students' papers, and having 3 other students and the supervisor and the professor feedback to you. So that's kind of this gathering of information. So we'll be adult to adult with each other, and you'll write, you'll share, you'll educate each other. We'll give you some feedback so you get your own kind of response in that. And that's one of the main parts of this course, is that small group feedback to each other on your written materials. We will also have every second week will be the discussion forum. So we'll just gather here live. You're where you are, where we are. Questions and discussion back and forth. If it lasts an hour, we'll finish. If it lasts 3 hours, we'll quit. Because I'm going home after that. But we'd have that open discussion. So questions, stories from your experience of being supervised, so stories from your experience of supervising others can all come forward in that discussion forum. It's kind of like ask anything you want, because if we don't have the answer, we'll ask everybody else. You can answer for somebody else, and we'll give you the best we've got.
And some weeks that'll be sort of structured by the webinar the week before, and some weeks it'll be a bit more flexible, open.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Thank you. The last and the third piece of our format will be the in-house weekend at St. Paul University here. So you got to think, folks, you're coming to Ottawa for one weekend. It'll be an all-day Saturday, all-day Sunday format. So you got to arrive Friday night and leave Sunday evening. And we're going to be much more experiential in that weekend. We're going to do a lot of role plays in that weekend. We're going to have some lectures, some components in there for groups. And the agenda will be presented in that weekend for that. But we want to really make it live, experiential, role-playing, so that we can say, take the stuff we've learned by then, because we'll have finished 4 webinars by then, and use that in an experiential in-house program. St. Paul University, we can look after you for some room and board if you need that, or that kind of piece. We have some places here to stay. All those details we can look at as we get closer to that weekend. The last piece, I suppose, is the bigger piece of the place, your philosophy of supervision paper. It's a 6-page, single-spaced, though I think it should be about 10-page, double-spaced, describing your theoretical basis for and your approach to supervision and how you would apply it. This paper will also be shared with your small group of 3 other students, who will also give you some feedback using track changes on that. And then that would become your main completion piece for this course. If you're thinking of AMFT supervision down the road, this paper would be good for that. Some of you maybe, I know some people here with the Canadian Association for Spiritual Care doing supervisory processes. It will be a good paper for that one as well. So we're trying to just get you one step ahead in your next supervisory process. For those of you who are thinking of supervising for the Ontario New College of Registered Psychotherapists, it'll be helpful in that. So we're trying to make it as practical as possible. And that's all about the format. A few things, and you can see it here, you can see it in your syllabus, your journal reflection papers, some format in here for you, 2-page single-spaced reflection papers. You got to read some stuff, and then you got to write about some of your personal engagement with what you've read. What did you think when you read this? What did you learn? What other ideas came to you, and what would you suggest? And so this is what your paper will look like a bit. It's not a big, long thing, but we're asking you to come both from the theoretical perspective and from your experiential perspective and share it in the group. And the rest of that, so you can see the value of this in your syllabus. And so I'm just going to leave it there for that. The weekend, okay, we're back here, but you see the weekend already. Get your dates together for October 25th, 26th. Get your tickets if you got to fly to Ottawa, you're welcome to do that. There's the value of that and your philosophy paper. So I'm just going to leave that be and move to, well, today you're watching us on our orientation video, and you do need to fill out your student information form. You will find it on Blackboard there. It's very few questions. Please fill it out. Email it to myself so that we can have it. What we're really trying to use this for is to find a way to put you into groups of similar people. You know, if you're marriage and family supervisors, that could be a group. If you're spiritual care supervisors, that could be a group. Individual, wherever, workplace supervision. We're going to try to put you into a group of common people so that it may be more up your alley. Our first webinar.
What we're going to do here is kind of walk you through what one rotation of webinar, discussion format, and so on, how it will work. So on our first webinar, which is going to be September 9th, we're going to be doing more introduction, a little bit of what we've done here today. We're going to be talking about your contracting process with this course, and we're going to review things like the length of your assignments, that kind of thing, and how you will be evaluating yourselves as you go through this process. So we'll have the webinar on the 9th. Martin's going to talk about definitions. I'm going to talk about parallel process, and Jillian is going to talk about transitioning from therapist to supervisor. Then there'll be an opportunity for you to do some reflecting, and out of that reflecting will come some aspects of that first reflection paper. Here's the assignment. What is our learning contract? So what are you contracting to do in this course? How will you evaluate yourself? Then on September 14th, that first assignment, that first 2-page journal article that you're writing, needs to be ready to be circulated to your small assigned group and to your prof. That's a Sunday, and then on the Tuesday, September 16th, the next discussion forum will be discussing what we've seen. By then, the point is, you'll have written it and circulated it, your colleagues will have seen it, and that will open up our discussion. And then you will have until the next Sunday to have finalized that presentation and get it to us. So that's kind of the rhythm that we'll be using. Mm-hmm. And then September 23rd will be our next webinar, and the theme is going to be Principles of Adult Education.
Et cetera, et cetera,
et cetera,
down the road.
Et cetera. So then there'll be some activities, there's an assignment, there's the dates for the next. So you can move forward through the rest of this PowerPoint and have a look at all the dates, the themes. You'll notice there are a few places where we've just put to be announced. We haven't fleshed it out because we want to be able to respond to your inquiries and sort of things that the group raises as important issues. And where are we going from here? What are we doing?
Well, that's the basic outline of our course. I'm glad you've watched us for this. You can certainly see read your syllabus, which is on Blackboard, read the course outline and the dates and everything, which is on Blackboard. We're going to put a bunch of articles on Blackboard for sure. I think I might take a moment and just introduce 3 books to you, because you need to order these books in advance. And the main book that we're going to be using here is Todd and Storm's book on the Complete Systemic Supervisor. It's coming from a marriage and family systemic perspective, but it covers lots of other different approaches and theories and all the other topics in here. So it's going to be probably our number 1 book that we're going to be using in that. You can get it at most good bookstores or online for sure. The second one that kind of fits in with that is?
This is called the Integrative Family Therapy Supervisor, a primer by Robert Lee and Craig Everett. And when I was doing my supervisor training, we were told, get this book, it will get you through the process to produce your philosophy of supervision paper. It has lots of valuable things, but it's very practical and very thought-provoking.
And then the third book, which is my personal favorite, Fundamentals of Clinical Supervision by Bernard and Goodyear. This is the newest version, the 5th edition from 2013. It's not required, it's a recommended reading.
Highly recommended.
Highly recommended.
Yes.
By me. So.
And it covers a lot of the good pieces in there too, kind of complement each other. I know 2 books is a big thing to buy, but ask your partner for some extra money and you'll have it for the rest of your life as you charge your supervisees for your fine services, and you can write it off as a business expense. Folks, welcome to the course, and we'll be back live with you on our first webinar, which is September the 9th. And if you have questions at all, be in touch with St. Paul University or with me or with Janet in terms of how to get on webinars. We'll help you as best we can to make this a good learning experience. Take care.